Welcome to Life on Bourbon, the podcast. I'm Armando Leduc, creator of the sitcom Life on Bourbon. Every week, we'll pull back the curtain on the show, filmmaking craft, bourbon street mythology, character arcs, and real stories that inspired our wildest scenes. We'll talk lenses and line reads, budgets and bar fights, with cast, crew, and a few French Quarter legends. If you love creativity, story structure, and a little NOLA chaos, you're in the right bar. Grab a seat, let's roll. I really enjoyed that intro.
I know. I was gonna say a nice opening.
You like it?
It needs
Yeah,
more
I
me.
love it.
There's not enough of me in that intro, though. I lots of me in there.
Manon Pages. Is that how you do it? Pages.
Almost with an S at the end. Pages.
Pages.
Yeah.
Manon Pages. I like
Yes,
it.
sir. It's me.
So we've been working on this project. It's coming up on a year. April.
I know.
A year that we shot this thing. And it's, as we've been talking about this in these previous podcasts, you know, when you're doing something independently and you're doing a project of this scale on an independent level, you're just kind of piecing things together and just kind of trying to push a boulder uphill. And so I appreciate everybody lending us their talents and, you know, and kind of being game for putting themselves into this piece. And so we haven't interviewed you yet. So we're going to interview you on like how you liked it. What were your thoughts when you first read it? And, you know, and we'll kind of get in there. Give us a little 2-minute backstory on you and how you got into acting and all of that good stuff.
Okay, well, 2-minute backstory. Let's go. Okay, I'm from France. I came 15 years ago as an au pair in New Orleans, and then I stayed here. Very long story that wouldn't be able to fit in 2 minutes, but acting was happening in New Orleans, and I thought that was a sign from energy gods or whatever, and I decided to start my acting career here, and now this is what I do plus music, although acting, you know, it's a little bit not there at the moment in the US, which is ironic.
Yeah.
Because it's all in Europe. Anyway, that's my backstory, I guess. And now I play music, I act, and I teach on the side, teach music. And that's me.
And so when you got introduced to this script, what were your thoughts before you started shooting? If you can remember.
Well, I just remember like cracking up definitely because I read a bunch of different versions. Because we had, I don't know, we had a bunch of rehearsals with different scripts. And I definitely I loved the rhythm. Like I enjoyed doing all the table reads because of I think how quick it was. And it was weirdly familiar as a part, the one that I was doing, because I had experienced literally a boyfriend once that was just very much triangulated me with another girl like that and made me feel crazy, where you end up reacting in a way where like you look like the psychopath that Erica looks like, but really she's just reacting to the situation that is just not fair. So it was interesting to be given that part where I felt like I lived it like the year before, you know.
I did not know that you had like did you know that, Armando?
Yeah. No, not before she told me.
No,
she's like, did you know that this was going on in my life? And I was like,
oh, that's wild. I didn't know that either. So you lived it.
I lived it, and definitely something not very far from that.
Yeah. That's interesting because your performance in the show, I feel like for me is like the most grounded and like realistic. Like we're playing real people, but we're all kind of doing like especially like Armando's got his voice that he's doing. I'm doing a caricature. Like we're doing like big, broad characters, and I felt like the way you played Erica was like this grounded, real person, and
That
it
might be
worked. It
why.
worked as like a juxtaposition with what everybody else was doing. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's. But now knowing that you like brought that real life experience into it, that kind of explains why it came across that way. And I think and I mean that like in a complimentary way. Like that was, I really love that about your performance in the show, is like it's like
Good.
she's a real person. Like this is a real girl.
I
She's
also
reacting
wrote
the way
songs
a
about
real
my
person
ex.
would react
It's
to these
really
idiots.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like that.
It was weirdly similar. Very much the whole, writing a song about your ex,
Mm-hmm.
done that. Then,
Yeah,
like my
yeah.
Taylor Swift moment, which is what Erica does. So it was very, very, very funny that this was really relatable like that.
When you're deciding to like work on projects, what makes you want to say yes to something, especially like an independent project like this, right? And then
hmm
what are some that you go, this is definitely not right.
I think that has evolved for sure. I think at the very beginning, I was saying yes to everything. Uh, and then I started saying yes to more the groups of friends I wanted to work with, whether I loved the project or not. I just knew that I was going to have a summer camp kind of uh, uh, time, and whether the movie was going anywhere, I was going to put the same energy into it, but just knowing that I would be with a certain group. um, with you guys, I actually didn't really know any of y'all, like, just slightly. I mean, Armando, we were friends on Facebook, but we didn't see each other a whole lot, aside from a couple parties here and there.
Right.
And I think it was just like, yeah, it was a different group. It was a comedy. I would, I think s- I just pick stuff also when I haven't done a certain thing. So if it's something that I've done and I maybe didn't love the experience or the result, or I feel like it's not pushing me enough, maybe I think now I say no more than I used to. But overall, if I know I'm gonna have a lot of fun, and of course, if you can take off of work because there's life and the reality of working in the independent films where you don't get paid, or not enough. So
Yeah.
like that's how I pick, I guess. It just changes. It's not a set of rules.
Why'd you say yes to this project?
Oh, because you guys were because I thought you guys were a fun group. I was like, oh, this is a new group that I don't know. The story seemed fun. I was playing a musician, which is exactly what I was doing more of, because of the movie industry being gone, after the strike or during the strike. I got myself more into my first love, which is music, and I thought it was funny that this was offered to me like this. So playing a role of a musician was yeah, a fun idea. That's why I said
I,
yes.
I remember we were at Audrey LaCrone's house.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, she would probably be really good in this. And then I was explaining
Yeah,
the
and I
story.
don't think you told me that right away. I think you invited me on another podcast,
Oh yeah.
that you were doing, like it was like a 48-hour like podcast
Yes.
spree
Did
madness.
Manon come on the 48-hour podcast?
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah.
She played some
Yeah.
music.
Was it when I was taking a break? It must have been when I was taking one of the breaks, I
Yes.
guess.
Actually, weren't you sleeping and I was singing a song?
I probably was asleep. It was me and Armando for 48 hours, just kind of
Yeah,
trading
no,
off.
I mean, I'm not judging. I'm just trying
Loving
to
it.
remember. I wouldn't have done it. But I know that I played a couple songs on that. One on the guitar and one on piano, and I sang. And then I think a few days after, you asked me to be part of Life on Bourbon.
Yeah. So you got the set. How did how did our set compare to other projects that you've been on? you know,
Uh,
the bad,
I
the
mean,
ugly?
honestly, no. I mean, honestly, like I thought it was definitely in the line of the most organized and efficient ones. Even though, like I know that. I mean, yeah, yeah, but I mean, if you really go on any set, I don't think anything goes the right way ever. And it doesn't matter the size of the project. I think a huge movie can be a shit show as much as an independent film. So I thought it was pretty, I mean, we shot what we had to shoot almost, except I think the last day was had to be a pickup, but the only thing that was stressful was the whole song situation, which I don't know if you remember, but I was asking you before we were shooting, like, so how's the song coming along? How because I needed to learn it for to
Yeah,
sing it, I mean to lip sync it for the last day of shooting. And the song wasn't there aside from the guitar part. And I thought that it would be ready when I showed up on, the first day of filming, and then it wasn't, and you and I just went into a room and just chat GPT a very like um cheesy, we were like cheesy, terrible rock song in the style of Steel Panther.
right.
And then we got and then we had I had information about my character on there, and then it gave us this song with a bunch of rhymes with random names of guys, like, like Bob is the Blob or whatever, and I mean, so something like that. And we're like, that's too much. Let's take off all the names. And then it just gave us this standard um breakup song
Yeah.
that was bad but good, like good bad, for
It
what we
fit.
wanted.
Yeah, it fit really well.
And then the Saturday, which is the day that I had off, I recorded that over the guitar that we already had. And so I just created the melody, and then I changed a few things just because I wanted to sometimes speed up, the syllable count or something like that, and then change a couple words that I was like, all right, this is just too bad. And I ended up doing it on Saturday. So that was, it was a rushed experience, but I'm glad that I did it because I was, happy with the result. And it was fun to sing it. It almost felt like a weird uh two dimension mixed together where it wasn't really my song because we chat GBT'd it, so it's a bunch of people song, I guess. um and then but I did create the melody, and then I ended up singing it live, as my character being pissed at her boyfriend. Like, that was just an interesting mix,
Yeah.
and I
I've
really
got to
enjoy
figure out
doing that scene. I love doing that scene.
yeah. Aaron.
He's
Hey,
back.
don't know if this is working, but I did a bunch of stuff
He's
to
still lagging.
try to
He's
fix
still
it.
lagging.
You're still lagging, bro. But that's fine. We'll just listen. We'll just hear you. We'll just hear you. We were just talking about Manon and like what her experience was coming in first. I'll ask you the same, just kind of give us a 2-minute little backstory on like your acting journey.
Well, all right, cool. So it kind of started with you, Armando, like 10 years ago. I was working with this guy named Tony Palo. He was doing little short films around New Orleans, and I had worked with him at this court running service, and he was like, hey, do this film for me. And I was like, okay, sure. And he got me involved in a couple like, independent projects. And then I saw your acting class on Craigslist, and I asked him about it. And I was like, do you know this guy? Is he credible? He's like, I know that guy. He's great. You should go, go to his acting class. And I was like, great. And then it's somewhere in the middle of like under the overpass on the way to Chalmette in this really freaking shady building, man. And like, there's like no
And you
one
still
there.
went.
Yeah, there's no one there, and I don't see anybody else. And I'm like, I'm about to get robbed. This is not it's like an acting class at all. And then finally I see the lights and this little dog running around, and it's Chile. You had just got him. And then there's like
Yes.
finally students coming in and other people, and I'm like, oh, okay, so this is legit. And from then on, man, I took your class for a while. I got with People Store. I moved to Atlanta. I booked some commercials and short films there. I got my SAG eligibility there, and then I moved to LA. And yeah, that's pretty much where I landed at now. But
That's awesome, man.
yeah,
And so we were talking about the beginnings of it. You were actually in the writer's room. Manon said that we went through some script changes when she got involved. Like, we could talk about the 2-3 years before that when this story had a whole different concept, when it was about a band specifically and like their journey. But then we like kind of switched it around. I felt like as we started getting more about a date, and you can tell me if what your experience was, but like I found that once we had a date that we're like, hey, we're shooting on this day, like everything just kind of was like click, 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 click. What was your experience with that?
Yeah, I agree. I think because at that point it was crunch time, and then we all started like meeting like almost, I don't remember, it was like once or twice a month or something like that, like for writing, or maybe even once a week at some point, just like, all right, we all got to meet at this time. And then everybody showed up, man. As many people showed up just to like put in their 2 cents to get this written and get like this first episode completely banged out. So like it really did happen when you were like, all right, this is shooting at this time, no matter what, whether we have all the pages, half the pages, or we'll figure it out, we're gonna have to shoot this day. So everybody came in, and I do remember, I still remember distinctly, like you said, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, me, you, and Stephanie in Midtown in Atlanta, and at Piedmont Park, writing all this craziness. We had like a character called Big Nuts. We had, he was gonna be like your MC rival. You know what I mean? It was.
Why didn't keep that?
We'll still bring these people in, I think.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, dude, Big Nuts' character, it was my favorite because it was just this guy who made like a bounce song that went sort of viral, which happens in New Orleans, and he got like notoriously locally famous, but he kind of took Armando's idea about a song named Big Nuts, basically, and it was just this hilarious just rivalry of just you took my fame that you barely have yourself, basically. And it was great. It was great. So yeah, it's definitely evolved since then.
What was your experience like working on this project compared to other projects that you've been on?
Man, I think I've even told you this personally. I had so much fun. Like, this was one of the most fun sets. Everybody was just laughing the entire time. And I think because I don't know, man, you brought a lot of people together who already kind of know each other. You know what I mean? There was like, and so like, it was very easy to joke with and make the jokes and improv and just honestly going back to New Orleans to film something was great for me. Like, I grew up there. So like to be on, I don't even know how you pulled this off, but getting an actual bar on Bourbon Street and getting people who were on Bourbon Street drinking to come in and be extras. It was that was awesome. That was just so awesome to see. I was like, this is the vibe. This is Life on Bourbon. This is really Life on Bourbon right now. Like it, and these people coming in.
Remember the Navy guys?
Yeah.
Yes,
exactly.
The Navy guys. That was why. Like, it looked like it was hired extras, but no, it was literally.
Yeah, they were really drunk people walking on bourbon. Just you know what I mean. Just like, yeah, do you want to come in for 5-10 minutes, be extras? And they're like, whatever.
We gave them free beer, and then some of them ended up staying around for like 3-4 hours.
They did.
Yeah.
I feel bad.
They just hung out. It was funny.
I'm gonna go around the room here. What was y'all's? What was your favorite moment on set, or a couple of favorite moments on set, Aaron?
Ah, man. Okay. All right. All right, fine. This one comes up very frequently with me and Stephanie. She is there to kind of be like a PA, and you're like, "Where's Stephanie? I need Stephanie. I need Stephanie, man. Where is she?" And we're like, we find out she's at Buffa's, like drinking. She's shit-faced. And we're like, she's drunk at Buffa's. I don't know what to tell you. And you just look and you went, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And like, and you're just like, well, it's not Life on Bourbon. People are getting fucked up on set. Damn, okay. Yeah, the way you just accepted that answer, like, I need Stephanie.
Yeah, I
Just
remember that.
nice. Nice. What can I do about that?
Manon, how about you? What was your favorite?
I think it was really wild to shoot that scene where I had to lip sync to some 41 and Blink 182 and then my own song, and I was like, I just didn't know any of these lyrics either, even though I've listened to that as a kid so much. But I was in France, so like I have an excuse. I didn't know what it meant. But I think the sound guys had a really good time because I just kept saying like watermelon. What was I saying? I kept singing like watermelon, watermelon, watermelon. Or
Nice.
whatever I would come up with, but it was just terrible. And I'm not a very good lyric improviser. Like I can't just come up with things. So that's why I sang watermelon. But that was just the energy of having to do the scene was really, really fun.
Yeah. How about you, Will?
I think my favorite scene to shoot was probably the scene that Manon and Aaron and I were in, and Callie was in, where we were back at the DJ booth. We had so many angles we had to get. It was really tight space, and we spent, what did we do, guys? Like 2.5 hours shooting like a 5-minute scene. But it was really fun to do, and like we really worked it. Like we worked we got to the point where we hadn't eaten lunch, and all four of us were like, we are gassed. And Armando was like, all right, guys, let's eat. And we ate, and the four of us sat and worked the scene while we were eating.
Yeah.
And then we went back down and shot it, and we got it after we kind of refueled, and we got to spend a little time, just the four of us, just kind of working through the rhythm of it. And then we were able to go down and do it. And that was a lot of fun. That was a fun experience just as an actor. The funniest moment on set for me was, I wasn't in the scene. It was the scene where you guys were all doing the massage table scene in Josh's office. And the door was closed in there, and y'all were in there for a long time because it was a complicated scene. And I think you guys had finished, and I walked in, and that room smelled like someone had just been ripping farts for like an hour. And I walked in, and I was like, yo, I've been stuck in this.
Really?
It was kind of like, oh my God. Maybe it wasn't that scene, but there was a scene back in that office, and somebody had just, I don't know, somebody had bad lunch, and man, I was like, I feel so bad for y'all because I did not hang out in that room because I wasn't needed. But
that must have been after. I don't remember that.
It was after that, but it was a scene in Josh's office, and like,
mm-hmm.
And like there was, the whole crew was in there. Armando was in there. Pedro was in there. I know Josh was in there too. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God, y'all poor people have been locked in this funk for
yeah.
I love the scene where Callie and Aaron are in the back, and then Manon shows up and is like, what is the meaning of this? That scene for me.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot.
Do you remember Aaron and I and Callie were saying like, this is the most challenging. We all agree it was the most challenging scene we've ever had to do ever.
Oh yeah. The back and forth between us.
Because it was so fast. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you, Armando.
No,
like it was just like that was like so it was so fast paced and had different actions, and then some of the lines were similar, and we were like, this is a hard scene. That was like the hardest one I've ever had to do, and then everybody's like, yeah, me too.
Well, I felt like, and I think the challenge was it's so funny.
It is funny.
So right, like you catch some hands again, bitch. Right, like it's so funny, but it's such a poignant moment in the show, right? Because like it's got to be heartfelt, right? Like it's got to be funny, but like there's this moment where it's all like, make a decision. You know what I mean? Like, and Aaron just does it so well, where he's like, well, I just thought that made. You know what I mean?
Maybe we work something out. You know what I mean?
It was such a great scene, and I was like, man, I could spend all day just on that scene. You know what I mean? Because like it was so nuanced. Y'all killed it. It was so good. So it's one of my favorite parts. Yeah. I mean, I still say, it's fun when you work on projects where a line comes out you know, and you're all like, yeah, say that line. We're like, you ready to catch some hands again, bitch, you know? And so I find myself saying that, you know, every day, you know, just like, you ready to catch some hands? So it's just one of those moments, man. Like
every time she slapped you and said, "Say it with your chest," it was so hard not to laugh.
Yeah,
yeah. No, it was hard not to break. She like hits me and say it with your chest. Like,
it's stuff.
A lot of it was so hard not to break. I mean, I feel like I had a lot of intense, like sad, you know, losing my mind moments that were serious, but it was in the world of very funny things happening. It was really hard not to break.
Yeah, you know what's cool?
It was also such tight quarters too. Like you guys were crammed behind that little booth. Like y'all were just like smushed back there for a long time. So it was real tight quarters too. So that didn't make it any easier, I'm sure. So
I think it may have added to it. You know, it's I showed the project to some people in Baton Rouge, and a few of them came up to me and said, "Wow, this feels like the show Entourage. Like it had an Entourage feel to it," which I was like, "Oh, thanks." Like it's a nice little, drama, you know, where it has this like, you know, it's comedic for sure. It's got dramatic moments. There's some real shit happening. And I was like, yeah, it really, now that we have like the first episode and like the characters, it's going to be a lot easier to like, okay, write for these people, you know, which I'm super excited about. Like I said, it's kind of this pushing the boulder uphill. I'm really appreciative of actually doing this podcast because it keeps reminding me why we need to be putting it out, right? Like, and why we need to just continue doing it because, you know, it could die on the vine very quickly, you know, without people wanting it to do it. So, you know, I appreciate you guys even showing up to do the podcast, right?
Did you guys see the trailer? Did y'all see the trailer?
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I feel like I keep forgetting because I know you guys sent a few, and like I kept telling myself, yeah, I'm gonna do that because every time you sent it, I was probably working, teaching, and I keep forgetting to go back to it. Did you send it on WhatsApp?
I don't think so. But we did finalize the song for the intro. So yeah, that's gonna be.
Well,
you know,
I just want to say
song.
I vote for that. I vote for the one that you guys chose.
The trailer's great. It's really good. And it really sets up the show nicely. Like it's good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what are you guys excited about?
Trailer, I guess it's the opening credits. I'm sorry, Armando, my bad. It's not the trailer.
Yeah, the opening credits.
Yeah.
It kind of it serves like as a trailer as well,
yeah.
kind of. So what are you guys looking forward to the most upcoming about this project?
Well, I'm honestly kind of curious to see where like the arc of Erica's character. I mean, everybody, but like obviously since I'm playing Erica, it makes sense and I'm interested. Just curious to see where it's gonna go with, you know, the situation that happened where obviously Erica is a little nuts, but like there's part of the craziness that is coming from the unfairness of the relationship, and so I hope that like, yeah, I hope to see a good mix of both because like I think it's also funny that she's you know, a crazy musician. um so I'm excited to see where that character goes for sure.
Yeah. How about you guys?
I'm pretty excited on like I was telling you this not so long ago about the fact that not that that's the main focus, but it does touch on a lot of the subculture of Latin people in New Orleans. Like usually when people think of New Orleans, think of Cajun Creole, and that's fair, obviously, but there's such a big presence. I mean, I grew up in it of Latin culture in New Orleans that gets mixed in with the Cajun, and it just like I want to see what that subculture looks like on screen, like more and more, like how people receive it, and just I don't know, like I growing up in it and knowing it, you know what I mean? It's I didn't realize like so many other people had the same experience as well, like how big of a culture it is, how many different Latin people are there, and they, you know, they chose New Orleans for a specific thing. And you even talked about like why there's so many Hondurans specifically in New Orleans. Like, it's got the biggest population of Hondurans than any other city, and it's because of the company Chiquita Banana. Like,
Yeah.
that history is just huge to me. But not that that's what the show's about. I just love that that's being even talked about. Something that I just thought was completely minuscule as a kid. I just didn't. I pretty much thought I was alone in this, and it just come to find out growing up, like, many people are experiencing it. So I definitely want to see where the show goes with that, especially with the intro being like completely, kind of Latin, Latin and like it's
a good
nice to see.
That music.
Yeah.
Is it the one we chose? The one that's like the combo of kind of Latin and New Orleans jazz?
Yes, that's what I mean. Like, both of those just mending perfectly.
Yeah.
Yes,
I agree.
Yeah,
I love that too. I'm looking forward to. I love the fact that it's an ensemble piece, and I like the idea of being able to take different characters and pair them together in scenes that haven't been paired together before. So there's like all these different combinations that we can play with. Of like, oh well, these two haven't done anything together. Let's put them in a scenario and just kind of see what happens. That's ripe for comedy and mining good situations out of. So I think that's going to be fun to do as we move down the road. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to that camp atmosphere that Manon was talking about. I just being in a project with a group of people together at the same time, and that energy is contagious. Like, I mean, it's just so active being in that space, where we're all working towards the same goal. It's a creative environment, but we have to put like our business hat on, because like there's structure to it, but it's like, all right, this is structured fun and we're doing it this way. And, and being able to make the day and, all of that stuff together, just, man, really activates a part of me that, like, I don't really get working as just an actor sometimes on a set. Like, sometimes I'll be an actor on set and I find myself just bored, right? Because you got to like kind of sit and wait. But like when you're producing and acting and directing, and you know what I mean? Like, it's just from the time you get there to the end, it's just like pop, 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 pop.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess the ADD part of my brain just like activates, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, it feels normal to me, which is probably insane.
Yeah, it is insane. It is insane. I think you're borderline insane. I've always had it.
That's true. I don't doubt it. But look, I appreciate you guys being on. Aaron Romano, Manon Pages, and Will Brooks. We are going to be doing more of these. Would love to have you guys back, maybe hosting and talking some more. We want to be putting these Life on Bourbon projects out weekly. So we'll be continuing this on and keep pushing this boulder uphill until it starts getting momentum, and then it'll just start rolling downhill.
Hey, quick production note for you, Armando. I think you need to, when you do this podcast, you should have the Poseidon painting behind you every episode.
Yeah, you really should. That actually makes a lot of sense.
I could do it. Look, the goal here is to really, just make this a famous, like, New Orleans show. And I think if we can do that and we can get a lot of New Orleanians on it, then, if it
honestly,
up, whatever.
Honestly, an idea that could work for because obviously I'm not a very typical New Orleans musician, right? But I think in story wise, especially if you want to make it more New Orleans, you would need more New Orleans musicians that are so typical and that play really the New Orleans jazz and things like that. That could be a challenge for Erica to be like, oh, this is not what she does, and I think that could be part of the story so that you can include more of that and make it more New Orleans, if that helps.
I just had an idea that maybe every episode you're dating a new New Orleans musician. And so
I like that.
like you're
Yeah.
you're kind of working
And
your
then
way up.
I try to
Right.
find my way, and I try to like adapt my style to whoever I'm with. And then like
Yes.
I don't do well because like it's funny if
Yep.
if like what I do is not great.
If it comes in with an accordion, like I'm learning Zydeco. Let's go.
I
Yeah, I know
love
Rock
that
and
actually. I
I know Rock and
that.
Dootsy. So yeah, you could be, and you bring them to the club where Aaron has to see, you dating all of these dudes, and you just,
I think it's a
further
good
and further
payback.
get pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No offense, Aaron. No offense.
No,
That's a
it
good
makes sense.
payback.
And that's a good way to bring in that's a good way to bring in these New Orleans musicians.
Yeah, because I think like you would obviously if you're gonna make something about New Orleans, the music is such an important part that like it almost feels like maybe obviously I'm not the typical character and musician and the type of music that I play is just, and I'm not from New Orleans. So I think that would be a good way to make that happen.
100%.
Yeah, I like it. All right, y'all. Thank you for being on the Life on Bourbon podcast.
You're welcome.
We'll be back with another one. And stay tuned. We're gonna be putting out these episodes sooner than later. So
Nice.
Thank you
y'all
for having me, Armando.
Thank you. Definitely. Sorry for the lagging, but
No.
I'll figure it out.
You're fired.
All right.
You're fired.
Right.
Later.
Thanks for hanging out at Life on Bourbon, the podcast. If you dug this, follow, subscribe, drop a rating and review, and share it with a friend who always orders the old-fashioned. Want your question on the show or a topic you want to unpack? Filmmaking, character backstory, or quarter lore? Let us know. Link in the show notes. Until next time, tip your bartender, protect your lenses, and keep the story rolling.